Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for another edition of Slack, It's a Snap. Your hosts today, Trevor Dowd and Wendy Goldband of the Slack team. Welcome to another episode of Slack, It's a Snap, a special show where we answer questions sent in by our QualityNet users. Today's topic is the newest QualityNet Slack feature, lists. With lists, you can easily keep track of tasks, stay aligned with your teammates while conversing in Slack, and save time with less switching between apps. Today, we'd like to invite you to play along with us as we learn all about how the new Slack list feature works. So open your computer screen to QualityNet Slack and try and work alongside us. You can always jump back to the Zoom chat screen and follow Trevor as he demonstrates. Trevor, let's begin by you first describing what Slack lists are and the advantage of using them.
Well, Slack lists are a new, exciting technology coming from Slack. They can be used for projects management and really just tracking everyday life. It's a great task management tool that is really well thought out and thoroughly done. But the biggest advantage, because we know we have so many other project tracking and task management tools that you could do all these features before, like triage management or planning team priorities. The big difference is it is fully integrated in Slack, so you can add it to your Slack channels. You can share it with DMs. It is limitless with the amount of communication and visibility that is provided through these lists.
So our first viewer question is, can you describe Slack lists in detail?
Of course, Wendy. So Slack lists are made up of components. These components are the building blocks of lists. And we will show in a demonstration shortly how you can use these items or these components to build your lists. The first and most important one is items. These are going to be your tasks. They have multiple different fields and you can comment on them. Items are going to be the most common component that you work with lists. Some other ones, though, are fields. These are what items are made up of. So you can add additional fields, you can take fields away, and they're super customizable because you can make them be either dates, they can be selections from a dropdown, they can be text, all different sorts of items that they can be. Finally, there are views. These are the ways that you can group things. So it's kind of similar to how, like, on your Jira board, you might have like an in progress or a done or a to-do kind of list. Views are the way you're going to do that. There are two views that you can choose from. You can have a table view or you can have like a board view, which is your kind of more traditional task management board. From there, you can then use filters and layouts to kind of play around with things and get it looking exactly as you like. And then you can also use threads as a way to communicate with people and have a great way of directly knowing what everyone's talking about at all times.
Trevor, another question, excuse me, Trevor, another question from our QualityNet Slack user is, how do Slack lists work?
Well, Wendy, there's only one way to show you how Slack lists work, and it's by showing. They're very complicated in their initial like build up, but once you get the hang of them, they become super easy and super quick. But yeah, if I sit here and talk, we'll be here all day. So let me show you. So this is the list dashboard. You can access it by going to your left screen, and it will be in the More section if you have not gone into preferences to change it to be in the sidebar like so. But then once you select on it, it will be in this left sidebar, and you will see something like this. If you've already created lists before, or if you've had lists shared with you, you'll find them right here. But if you haven't, it'll look exactly like this. The first thing I want to highlight, and I highly recommend when you are using lists to start here, is with these templates. Slack has done a great job of providing a list of what they consider the 8 most common uses of lists and the 8 most ways that they think people will use it. So if you want a project tracker, it's right there. For quarterly planning, also right there. A feedback one, which I think is very useful, is right here. Help requests for getting feedback from people. For working with people. is great. And then like the traditional to-do list, I think is, some of the ones that I wanted to really highlight. So yeah, these are great. This is a great place to start. Once you create the template, you'll be able to edit it further and create customization. But this is great if you don't really know where to start. Start with one of these and customize it to your exact needs. But for this demonstration, I'm going to just show you how to quickly create one from scratch. So you'll hit new list and you'll be starting with this new list. It will be untitled. So you can give it a name, and we'll do demo. Demo for the August chat. So that's now the name of it. And as you can see, I have a view right here. I can add items. So I can share it with people. So I want Wendy to know about this item. So I'm going to add her. And I want to get this item done by tomorrow. Now, I can't put a description in, but if I go over to fields, I can add another field. I can pick which type. And as you can see, there's lots of different items that you can choose from. So you can really add to the customability of it. For this, we'll do text since it's a description. We'll save that. Just putting in some filler text. As you can see now, Wendy will have access to this item. She'll get alerted whenever anything happens to it. So if someone comes and opens the item or adds a comment, Wendy and myself will be alerted to that item being used. So I can just add a comment like working on it now, add that. And it's just a great way to be able to kind of keep up and keep everyone up to date. Now, let's say you need to add more people. And let's say you need to add a channel. So to share it with a channel, you'll come up to the share button in the top right, and you will add whatever channel that you want. You can share it, and then that channel will now have access to this list. From there, anyone in that channel can access the list, they can play with it, and yeah, really full customability and really work together. So that's kind of how items work. That's how sharing works. The last thing we'll go over are views. So we have this normal item thing. I want to add another view. This is the table view. As I mentioned earlier, we have the board view. Sample 2 for the board. And you can group it by people or channels or anything else like that. But so as you can see here, the item moves directly over to the other view. It's right here. We can add another group. So this is how you would create like a traditional kind of Jira board is through the board view. And you can go back to see where all the items are afterwards. So that is kind of just a brief overview of them. It can get highly more customizable than this. So my best recommendation is get started with this, maybe use some of the templates, and then really dive into it in the future. Does that answer your question, Wendy?
Yeah, it does. Trevor, you want to move on to the next slide?
Hold on one sec.
Okay, Trevor, I think we have a special visitor today with a question about Slack lists for us. Barbara Soros, go ahead.
Hello, Trevor and Wendy. Always an honor to be included as your special guest. I have to say, this Slack list feature is incredibly exciting. So much versatility and utility. But enough of my 2 cents. I am wondering though, since I have other tool management options like Jira and Lucid, why should I use Slack lists instead?
Well, Barbasaurus, that is a great question. And I think I can show you an example that would really help demonstrate why you should use this instead. So if we go to my old example and we go up here to share, you can see I've added a channel. That's something that you can do in Jira as well. But what you can't do in Jira is change the editability. So right now I can just have people view it if I would rather have that instead. You have much more granular control over what people can see and what people can do. You can also edit directly from Slack, which is another thing that the Jira integration cannot do. Similarly, you can add people directly. So if I wanted to just add Wendy instead of a whole channel, I can do that, and I can give her edit access. And let's say I wanted to add someone who I didn't want to edit, I can also do that directly. So I'll add Emma, but I'll just have her so that she can view it. This will allow you complete control over who's doing what and when. So much so you can even do it as a whole workspace wide. So this general field allows you to set the view, edit, or restricted for the entirety of CCSQ QualityNet. I would recommend that you keep it on the default setting of restricted most of the time. The can view for it, I could make sense in certain situations where you need to collaborate or get feedback from the whole of CCSQ. But the can edit, I would highly, highly recommend, unless there's a very special circumstance, that you never do that, as then the whole of Access, anyone in the workspace could edit that list, and they will see it. Does that answer your question, Barb?
Barb, you there?
Hold on a second, I have to switch.
She must be drinking her coffee.
I think she's in Pennsylvania, so that storm got her too.
Hello. Yes, Trevor, outstanding. I can't wait to get started using them and encouraging my whole team to get on board. Bye-bye.
Bye, Barb. Okay, Trevor, we've got 2 more questions. The first is, what are items and how do I use them in Slack lists?
Yeah, so items are the kind of the main building blocks of the components. We've already seen briefly what they are, but they are so much more versatile than this. Like I said, you can add fields, and these fields can be numbers, they can be dates. So if you need a deadline, that's great. Oh, I need to resume sharing. Sorry about that. They can be an email, and then the really nice thing is they can also be channels or people in the workspace. They can also just be messages, which is something that we haven't really seen before with Slack integrating their messages. This is a quick way if someone like just says in a help desk, I need to do this, you can just go directly to the message and add it directly to the ticket. Really makes it easy instead of having to copy and paste into different items. It really creates easy kind of help support desk tickets. Beyond that, they're great at sending, save this real quick. They're great for sending out direct communications. Like I said, the nice thing about this and the big thing about it is it's directly integrated in Slack. You can set the how granular you want the notifications. So if you want notifications for everything that happens to this item, you can do it. You can do comments or fields. It's really up to you. And then the last thing that's really interesting is you can see the history, and every single change that I've made throughout this iteration is documented right there in the Slack list.
That's great. Our last question today, Trevor, is how do I get other people to join my lists?
Like I was explaining to Barb, you have full granular, you can invite them in any way you want. So if you want them to have the whole thing, that's where you would do this, the sharing the list with the people or the channels. If you just want to share an item, that's where you do people. And they can then be notified about that specific item. So let's say there's a second item and I want Emma to be involved in that one, but I don't want Wendy to get notifications for every single one of them. I can do item 2 and we'll do Emma and we'll add her And now she will get notifications about item 2, whereas Wendy will only get it over item 1. This is really one of the big advantages, that it's directly notifying people in Slack about what you are doing and when you are doing it.
This is great, Trevor. Thanks for all the information on the new Slack lists. If anyone has any further questions or needs help, please contact our Help Slack channel in QualityNet Slack. You can also find lots of information about all things Slack in our QualityNet Slack resources Confluence page. I highly encourage everyone also to take advantage of our ESS Tools University trainings coming up in August. And Trevor, if you can move the slide, you can show these dates. Coming up in August, we have Slack 101 Essentials on Tuesday, August 6th at 11. We have Edit in Office on Monday, August 12th at 11. Confluence Essentials on Thursday, August 15th at 1 p.m. And 508 and Atlassian on Wednesday, August 21st at noon. There we go. Yeah. And you can register for all of these at the ESS Tools University Confluence space. I will put the links for all of this in the Zoom chat right now. And that's it for today's Slack is a Snap. Thanks for joining us.